Hey there, good soil. In the month of October, we're going to be talking quite a bit about generosity. And I had someone recently ask me, who are the people in your life that taught you how to be generous or who modeled generosity for you? And when I started to think about that, the person who popped into my head first was my dad, especially a story about how my dad and I would be driving to church on Sunday mornings, and we'd always come to this intersection together. I was in high school at the time. And at that time, people were paid to sell the Sunday newspaper on the corner. And we developed somewhat of a relationship or a friendship with this guy named Mark, who would be selling these Sunday newspapers on the corner. And unfailingly, every week, my dad would give $1 or $2 or $3 or $5 or sometimes $10 for that 50-cent newspaper because he knew that guy Mark on the corner needed it. And after a while, he helped get him acquainted with someone else who could get him some eyeglasses and eventually eye surgery that he needed so he could move up and be qualified for future jobs. But that story really stuck with me and popped into my head when I started to think about who the generosity mentors were in my own life. Another person who came to mind for me was a teacher that I had in graduate school, and once in a great while she would take a student out to eat, sort of as a celebratory kind of a thing. I was her teaching assistant, and she would joke at the end of one of these meals that we had together. We were checking out and she had the bill, and she shared with me that her husband would lovingly tease her because she liked to tip half the bill. And sure enough, she was telling me this kind of joking and giggling, but she was tipping half the bill as she shared this with me. And that was such an indication to me of what generosity can mean and do. That was something she wanted to do to support that person who was working hard in the restaurant, and something that I wanted to model my behavior after too. So as I mentioned before, in the month of October, we're going to be talking about building a culture of generosity and the role of generosity in our own lives. We'll be kicking off a stewardship appeal called Building a Culture of Generosity on the 10th of October, and it'll go through the end of the month. And I hope to hear some of the stories in your own life of how you've been maybe on the receiving end of extravagant generosity, or who in your life has maybe modeled generosity for you, or even dreaming together as a church about the ways that God will use our generosity to impact the world around us in and through our own faith community. So looking forward to being with you on this generosity journey ahead, and see you soon.